But also with young men, yeah, like Trump's approval rating among young people is dropping drastically. People don't want to see deportations happen where like moms are pulled out of their jobs or kids are like snatched on the way to school. This is not what people want to see. Yeah. We want to see people who are here illegally and have committed crimes. If you're an actual like violent criminal, that's a different story. Violent criminals can get out of this country. But the idea that Americans or young Americans want to see these deportations is insane. Trump's messing up the economy for my generation a lot. The thing is, just to be candid though, like Trump has that air of masculinity that no Democrat has. My audience will get mad when I say this, but he's still Moggs. He's still kind of like, he looks tougher than almost every Democrat, despite him being a whiny baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's easy to come off as a tough guy when you're basically ruling as like a strongman style leader, and you clearly just like don't give a about any other country besides yourself, and you're willing to sort of like publicly humiliate world leaders and stuff. It's just kind of like doing all these alpha male things when it's like so much of our society has lost track of the fact that he's also a horrible person and clearly has no integrity, doesn't care about anything besides himself, is really embroiled in like we can even just toss aside the felony convictions, the sexual harassment, the whatever. It's just like so much easier to focus on the just lying and the selfishness and the fact that like you know when you look at the things that people on the left get criticized for, it's like almost impossible. You know, Hassan really should not be held to like, you know, the highest standard as just a Twitch streamer, but this imaginary dog choking thing, which I've done enough research to like try to figure out, is there any truth to this? It seems like there's not. But meanwhile, you could imagine that Trump could have 10 dogs that are all being electrocuted on a daily basis. And they're just, we would be absolutely ineffectual in trying to make that a big issue.
Blip in the radar. They would start justifying it, and they would win that narrative justifying it too. Like people en masse would start to think it's okay. It's messed up. I think that when it comes to the double standard, I've argued with people who try to hold me to a higher standard than Trump. Like Trump is posting these effing AI videos all the time
of him as the king, especially lately.
Of him as the king, and there's a crazy double standard. I mean, just think about this. Biden's wealth increase during his presidency, it went from $8 million to $11 million. I just did a Jubilee 1v20, so I have all these random facts in my head. We could talk about the 1v20 too, but one of the things I was researching was corruption. And Biden's net worth went from $8 million to $11 million. That was just like real estate assets, investments that increased throughout the 4 years. It's normal, a $3 million increase. Trump's net worth has gone from $4.3 billion to $7.3 billion over the last 9 months. He's made $3 billion, and it's mostly off this untraceable crypto named Trump coin. Like this dude leveraged his inauguration to start Trump coin. The hype of his inauguration to start Trump coin. Then they started Melania coin the next day. And it's untraceable to such an extent that other countries, some of them are actually openly saying we're funneling money into this and they're trying to get favors, but other countries can funnel money in such an untraceable way that they have leverage over Donald Trump now. There's this one dude named Justin Sun. He's a Chinese entrepreneur who is like a billionaire. He wasn't allowed to step foot into the United States for the past 5 years because he defrauded a bunch of people. The SEC said, we're going to arrest you if you step foot in the United States. He gave $70 million to Trump's cryptocurrency, and now he's able to have, you know, dinners with Trump at the White House. Like this is just blatant quid pro quo, blatant corruption. But people, the double standard exists to such an extent that people think both sides are basically corrupt. Both sides are the same.
And we could compare the Trump crypto coin to like Hunter Biden's laptop, which we had to hear about every day for months and months and months, which I don't know if you caught Hunter Biden on Channel 5 a few months ago, but, you know, ultimately just really turned out to be like a complete nothing burger. Like he's a up dude. Yeah, he was having weird orgies and doing crack and shit. Sure, but I mean, what does that really mean for our country?
Don't we all?
But yeah, don't we all? But meanwhile, like, I mean, I feel like probably CNN and all these big media companies were trying to make a stink out of the Trump crypto coin, but at least online, I mean, it was a blip. You know?
Yeah. No, we are so bad at controlling the narrative. Did you see that photo or the video that Trump posted of himself pooping on All Americans, like Harry Sisson and everything? Did you see this AI video?
I think, yeah.
He was in a fighter jet and there's like shit coming out or whatever. And it's because during those No Kings protests, my theory is he lost control of the headlines and the narrative for about 12 hours while all the No Kings protests were happening. Everyone was out there protesting. So he thought to himself, what can I post that's so outrageous, that's so effing crazy? The narrative will shift back back to me. So he posted this crazy AI video of himself literally just pooping on the heads of a bunch of Americans. And it worked. Now every single news channel is covering that. And the entire message of no kings has been diluted by Trump's craziness. So this dude, for as much as like I hate on him, he's very savvy in how he controls the narrative, directs the narrative, and Democrats have got to keep up. Like the only Democrat that's doing it right is Gavin Newsom.
So yeah, you're impressed by his new identity that he's kind of taken on here?
It's hard not to. I know you live in California.
Yeah.
So is one of your things, do you think Newsom like shapeshifts a lot? I think that's a common thing I've heard.
I mean, I'm kind of willing to tolerate whatever he feels like he has to do if it's going to, you know, be able to give us a ability to fight back against Trump, because now we're kind of paranoid about the idea that he's going to be sending the troops into our cities, which, you know, from your perspective in Chicago, has that really changed things or up the vibe on the ground?
It's up the vibe on the ground a lot. Well, first of all, it's like kind of hopeful in a way because there's a bunch of protests popping up. There was just a massive protest in Chicago. I mean, there have been protests every single day, but it's ineffective. Most people in Chicago don't want it. And it's all for show. Like there were literally ICE and like National Guard troops riding in the Chicago River on a boat. I don't know what the fuck they're looking for. Are they looking for immigrants in the river or something?
Right.
I don't know what it is.
And meanwhile, the biggest problem in Chicago is like gang violence. Yeah. And then like what the fuck are they going to do when these killings are happening like totally randomly in back alley situations and shit like that? What are they going to do?
So there's ways to fix this with not federal troops, but federal prosecutors and investigators, because most of those killings happen from guns that come across state lines. So like I was doing research for a debate on this, of course, and like you can actually stop or prevent violence if you stop the flow of guns across state lines and increase the amount of investigations and prosecutors that are happening. But Trump's like, no, I'm not going to do that. What if we just mobilize the military? What if we just have the military standing around in the streets of Chicago? Which like short term, sure, no one wants to go outside when the military's there, but how is this a long-term fix whatsoever? But yeah, to go back to your question about Newsom, he's the only one. Like, it doesn't even matter if I like him or not. He's the only one that's been able to draw the attention needed. He's the only one that's able to get 5 million views on some shit post. And that shit post drives the attention in the same way that Trump's like literal shit posts do.
Yeah.
You know?
No, definitely.
He's driving the attention. It's good.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, I feel like sometimes I feel like a crazy person because people just talk about LA like it's the worst place on earth. I'm from New Hampshire. From the age of maybe like 23 on, like living in California became kind of like a dream for me once I came out here and realized how beautiful it was, how nice it was. And granted, like there is a lot of up shit and we've definitely seen an uptick in crime since the pandemic and stuff, even though I think that's been declining ever since. But yeah, I mean, we've kind of like just allowed all these people to paint this narrative of California as this hellscape. And I mean, just got baited into watching some Joe Rogan clip from his podcast where he's just like talking about LA in this horrible way. And it's like, especially just like his lived experience of living on some gigantic compound in the valley where I know that you never had to step over a homeless person or if you did that's the worst of it. Like, and I sometimes feel crazy having this conversation with people too, like, you know, yeah, if you want to live in LA or the surrounding area, yeah, you're gonna have to step over some bums and, you know, your car might get broken into once in a while. Like, these are the things that you deal with living in a big city. And like, for all my years living in New York, I never really felt spiteful about the fact that, like, you know, you need to lock everything up. Your bike is going to get stolen even if you lock it up sometimes. These are just things that come with living in a big city.
Have you ever considered we can mobilize the military to take care of the homeless people on the street that you have to step over? Like, what? I don't get why we have to do this crazy extreme shit.